Hi, everybody. This is Josh with some critical thinking and author of Anxiety Reset 30 Days to Find Calm, a self-regulation workbook for busy adults like yourself. And this here is the full color version, the hardcover. It's also available in paperback, black and white, also on audiobook. But you don't need to buy the audiobook if you got the physical book, because what this physical book does is it's got QR codes in here where you can scan these QR codes and it'll take you right to the audio where you can listen to it. But if you pick up this book, you can do it along with me. This is the start of a series where I'll be going day to day over the 30 days. And then wherever you happen to find this, you can start off at day one. If you want to pick up the book, the link to the Amazon where you can see reviews and all that kind of stuff will be in the links below. But let's start. We've got Anxiety Reset, 30 Days to Find Calm, and you can see a 4-star review from Literary Titan. It's the Reader's Choice Silver winner with 5 stars in its category, and International Impact Book Award winner, which I was really happy to get. But let's start. We added in daily affirmations and quotes. That was the latest revision, number 22. And dedication. To those seeking calm in the storm, you're stronger than you know. Okay, we've got our table of contents. And then the introduction. So let's go through the introduction real quick, and I'll just read this to you as I'm going. Welcome to Anxiety Reset, 30 Days to Find Calm, Self-Regulation Workbook for Busy Adults. And if you're reading this, you've likely felt the weight of anxiety, those racing thoughts, tight chest, or sleepless nights that seem to creep in uninvited. You're not alone. Anxiety is a silent epidemic affecting millions of adults, often hiding behind the demands of work, relationships, and modern life. But here's the good news. You have the power to reset your relationship with anxiety, and this workbook is your guide to doing just that. The hidden epidemic of adult anxiety. Anxiety isn't just a buzzword, it's a pervasive challenge that affects adults in ways that often go unnoticed. Unlike the stereotypical image of panic attacks, adult anxiety can manifest as chronic worry, irritability, perfectionism, and even physical exhaustion. It's the knot in your stomach before a work presentation, the overwhelm from juggling family and career, or the quiet dread of an overflowing inbox. Of course, I could read the rest of it, but I already have, so I'm just going to skim through and start the exercise here. Let's go through. So there's this section here, how stress and anxiety manifest differently in adults, right? This is, pretty good information. I think spotting what's going on is half of the battle here. Why traditional methods often fail section. You can see that the science of self-regulation, what your brain on anxiety is like. I'll just go over this real quick because this is kind of fundamental to it. Is stress activates your amygdala, the brain's alarm system, triggering fight or flight responses like a racing heart or spiraling thoughts. And this is an ancient survival mechanism. It's designed to protect you from danger. In modern life, it often activates in response to non-life-threatening stressors like work deadlines, social media notifications, or relationship conflicts. I even noticed myself getting anxiety because my notifications on my phone started getting really super annoying. And that can happen. One of the little tricks that I did was just change the sound of it to something a little bit more relaxing. And it actually did make a difference. You can try that. Okay, so we've got how to use the book. There's the QRs, the daily format structure, getting the most out of it. It's setting a regular time, creating a calm environment. I've got a nice calm environment in here. Hope you find the lighting relaxing. Understanding your anxiety, days 1 to 5, and then day 1. So if you wanted to scan this QR code here, even if you can scan this from your TV, if you're watching this from your TV, you can go along and listen to the narrated audio with the video. But let's do the exercises. Your anxiety mapping exercise. So we're going to take about 15-20 minutes to complete the following sections and being as detailed and honest as possible. This is for your eyes only. The more accurately you map your anxiety, the more effective your regulation strategies will be. Well, in this particular instance, I'm going to do it with all you fine folks so you can kind of see it. Physical sensations, when you feel anxious, what happens in your body? Check all that apply and add any other specifics. I notice that the stomach discomfort, I get muscle tension in my neck. Later on will turn into tension headache. The feeling hot and flush, no. Not for myself anyway. Of course, yours is, might be different, right? Headaches and migraines, here it is here. Yeah, for sure. Jaw clenching or teeth grinding, absolutely. And the dentist notices that. My primary physical symptoms list the 2 to 3 most common physical manifestations of your anxiety. Jaw clenching, headaches, neck sore. Took about 50 hours, but added on the bottom of just about every page of this book, positive affirmation. The one for today on this page is every step forward matters. Yeah. Okay, number 2, thought patterns. What kind of thoughts tend to accompany your anxiety? Check all that apply. And over the years, I find that for me, it has changed. Some of the things from when I was younger are different than how they are now. Say rumination, does all or nothing thinking, worry loops too. This is a workbook. Feel free to write anywhere. There's lots of room on these pages. You can write anywhere. My reoccurring anxious thoughts tend to focus on what themes come up most often. Rumination. And part of what helped me get through that was just always know that you're trying doing your best and to give grace to yourself. Kind of methodology and what tools they use to help through their own challenges is going to be different. What themes come up most often, say replaying, and then wanting perfectionism. Calm flows through me. Yeah, I'd say so, most of the time. Okay, let's look at the next page. Day 1, the anxiety blueprint, behavioral responses. How does your anxiety typically manifest in your actions? Check all that apply. Irritability or snapping at others, that can happen when I'm stressed out. Overworking for sure. Just distract myself. Healthy avoidance, right? Or healthy coping skills. When I was younger, used to drink alcohol. I don't hardly touch it at all now, if ever, but drinking more than once a week, not getting drunk, but having something more than once a week. Emotional eating, for sure. Midnight munchies, binging on unhealthy food. That sometimes that can make you sick too, which sucks. Fidgeting. Fidgeting is interesting because it can also be a way to lose weight just because it burns calories. I don't know if you've ever tried to take up fidgeting just to burn calories, but it does work for that too. I'm curious what yours is. If you feel like sharing, having conversation, feel free to put it in the comments. My typical behavior responses to anxiety are overworking, emotional eating. Oh, Ben and Jerry's, so good. Do you binge eat when you get stressed out? If you binge eat like me when you get stressed out, let me know what your binge eating food of choice is or snack of choices. And irritability. Yeah, for the irritability or emotional eating, sometimes I find that working out, just going and working out or getting exercise or going for a walk can help out a lot. But let me know what healthy coping tool that you found useful. Yeah, feel free to comment. I'm curious. I meet myself with kindness. Yeah, I'd say that's really important to do. And then here's a whole page for your notes. I'm not going to use this today, but you can feel free to use it. There's a whole page here, and stuff might come up as you're going through your day, right? Maybe something will come up that makes you feel stressed or you forgot something that's relevant here in today's lessons. But if you do, feel free to use this page, or even when you're later on in the book and you need to have some additional writing room, you can do it here. And if you wanted to read or give a review, you can just scan this QR code. It'll take you to Amazon. You can leave a review for me. My body finds balance naturally. Yeah, I like that as an agreement. That's a good agreement. Number 4, situational triggers. When do you typically experience anxiety? Deadlines or time pressure? Yeah, deadlines or time pressure. Multitasking or juggling competing demands. Even in my day-to-day job, I have to juggle so many things at once and often switch priorities. One of the hardest things to do is meet unknown expectations. And you have to recognize that you've only got so much capacity to do things in your day or with your resources. And there have been times where I've had to ask, yeah, what are the priorities here? What is the highest priority? This is what I'm looking at. How can I meet this goal? Or what would you like me to focus on if you're working for somebody else? If you're working for yourself, then maybe that's talking to your support group, maybe your friends, your family, your close people, and leaning into them and going, hey, I just need a sounding board. Can I talk to you? And maybe this is uh, what's their perspective, and it might be something you're missing, right? And sometimes that's going to be like, yeah, you just got to go work out, or get some good sleep, or spend a day with yourself, or go out, hang out, have a coffee with one of your good friends. But yeah, let me know what works for you. My specific work professional triggers are too many distractions, reprioritization. It's not a trigger, but it definitely can stress me out. However, if you can cue it in your mind and you know kind of what is the highest priority, that helps out a lot for sure. And say the other thing is when you're given the task, but you don't have the tools, and those tools might be physical tools, they could be authority tools. Fear dissolves into peace. Social situations, large gatherings or parties, meeting new people, being the center of attention, small talk, social media interactions, being observed or watched by others, group activities or team projects. Yeah, group activities or team projects can be stressful, just in that you can control your own work ethic. You can't control someone else's work ethic. And when you're working in teams, you are only as strong as your weakest link. And hopefully you don't feel like that's you, but that can happen. And that doesn't necessarily need to be a bad thing. That pressure can force you to learn and grow faster. And that's happened to me before when I used to play badminton back in the day, competitive badminton, and I had a partner. The partner was better than me. Then it forced me to want to practice and learn and grow and get better, and then find people who were better. My specific social triggers are when in a team and have a weak team member. And that could be you. If you have you can see I'm not filling out a whole bunch here, but if you have a whole bunch to put it in there. Self-development is a progressive thing, and you're never going to lose when you're investing in yourself. If you buy one of these books, it's your workbook. So yeah, make use out of it. Healing is my journey, right here at the bottom of the page. All right, number 5. Select the options that best describe your anxiety patterns. More like intense but brief. I know that I'm going through anxiety, which can definitely lead to neck pain and stress headaches. What is it for you? If you feel like sharing, let me know. And what works for you? I know people that like to get maybe they have a hot water bottle, or they've got a fantastic partner that gives them neck massages. Varies. It varies depending on what it's coming from. Calm travels with me. Yeah, I like that agreement. It makes sense to this stuff. Impact assessment. Okay. How does anxiety currently affect different areas of your life? Rate the impact on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 for work career, 1 for relationships, say 2 for health. It can affect my sleep, and I get really stressed out. And there's knowing the difference between what you can control, your controllables, and your uncontrollables. My uncontrollables will keep me up at night. So I'm definitely going to give that a 3. It doesn't happen all the time, but less than maybe once a month, once every couple months. Enjoyment of life. Some of these things have been definitely higher in different parts of my life. Just about died at my job numerous times. Self-confidence, not this job, but other jobs while I've been working up here. Self-confidence, yeah, it does, but not it used to. And daily functioning is a 1. Minimal across the board. Areas most affected, sleep. Yeah, sleep is super important. And physical health, right? So binge eating is obviously not great for physical health. Making time for yourself is important. Your anxiety blueprint summary. Now take a moment to integrate what you've learned about your anxiety patterns based on your responses above. Complete the following statements. My anxiety typically begins with, what's the first sign? So a thought, a body sensation, a situation. It says usually a situation that's brief. It's from time pressure and shifting demands. I can get a sore back and headaches. I deserve moments of quiet. Absolutely. Moments of quiet are great. Some time for meditation or rest. Making rest mandatory. Your anxiety blueprint summary. Now take a moment to integrate what you've learned about your anxiety patterns. Based on your responses above, complete the following statements. My anxiety typically begins with a thought, but the thought is in response to an external stimulus, The core pattern tends to be, summarize the typical progression from trigger to response. First, it's the action, outside action, to the thought, to the physical response. I noticed that my anxiety is worse when, definitely worse, especially in the northern climates when I don't have enough vitamin D, if I'm not hydrating enough and I'm not getting enough sleep, all those things for sure up my ability to cope with stress. It's worse when not enough sleep, or vitamins or exercise. I noticed that my anxiety improves when, get enough sleep. So I'm just going to put rest, right? Because rest can be other things besides sleep, time with loved ones. There's a bunch of extra room I left down here, so feel free to write. I soften into stillness. Reflection. Take a moment to reflect on what you've discovered by mapping your anxiety. What patterns surprised you? What connections do you see between different aspects of your anxiety experience? What insights feel the most significant? There's definitely a connection between, there's an opportunity at my thought. At my thought or spiraling, if needed, I will take a break. I've done that before. I think it's important to know your own limits. If you need a break, just take a break. Go take a walk or whatever. Like, a lot of things aren't that important that you can't just go take a 5-minute walk. It really makes a difference. But find something that works with your job, things that you can do to give yourself a break if you need it. The simple act of mapping your anxiety, today's key takeaway, and then the daily practice. Okay. So we've got the daily practice. So notice when an anxiety arises, mental reference, your blueprint, practice simple acknowledgement without judgment. That's the exercise, is that practice the simple acknowledgement without judgment. When you notice your anxiety patterns, try say to yourself, this is part of my anxiety blueprint. I'm learning to understand it better. Add to your blueprint. If you notice aspects of your anxiety that weren't captured, you can go back and write them down. Remember, awareness itself is a powerful intervention. Today, you've begun to shift from being unconsciously controlled by anxiety to consciously understanding it, the essential first step towards lasting change. Tomorrow, we'll build on this foundation by exploring your specific emotional triggers in great depth. And then we've got, today, I choose gentle. An example here about Sarah and the thought patterns, behavioral responses, and physical sensations she goes through, and that peace is my natural state. That agreement there. And we've got her whole triggers and the core pattern, what it tends to be for her. And yeah, I welcome healing energy. Absolutely. Thanks so much for joining me on today's journey. Please give me a follow, comment below, and you can check out the rest of this as I'm going through it. The second chapter is what we'll work on next, and we can, and if you're catching this at, say, number 2 or number 3 or whatever number it is later on down the line, you can always go back to number 1. I'll make sure I put a link to this first video in the other ones at the bottom in the comments.